Let's talk about the um, cascading style sheet. Now, we did exercise in our class to apply the style on HTML file. Now, if you could remember, you went onto this particular link and saw the power of actually style sheets. So, essentially, CSS provide the mechanism or functionality to apply the styles on the web pages, which could be cross platform, standard based, and they have many advantages. One of the main advantages it's very easy to maintain this website. Okay. An example could be in this way we could apply a single style to number of number of web pages in large websites. It could be we may be talking about thousands of pages, and the power of style sheet is if we change the style in the main in the style sheet, that will be applicable to all the pages. So we don't have to actually go to each one of these pages and actually change the style in there. We could just change up there and it will be reflected in all the pages. Okay, now let's do an actual example. We are going to try there are a number of ways we could embed the styles. We're going to look at an example where we will put the style element for our HTML and document in the head section of HTML. Okay, so we will be looking at this particular style. Okay, so the idea behind is whichever element we want to apply style to, it will we need to declare the style for that element. Okay, so we need to declare the rules, and the rules are normally set by property value pair. Okay, for instance, in this case, the color of the text in for all for the body element should be blue. Okay, here you could see another example where the color of the text is blue, but the background color for the body is yellow. But you may notice here that we are using hex codes for our color. Okay, and that's actually a preferred way of assigning a color for your elements. Now if you look there, we assign the colors in hex decimal number in each, so essentially the various gradients of red, green and blue will make up an effect of a particular color. And this element, the first element F and F, it's a hexadecimal number which starts from 0 to F, which is it has 16 elements to it, and 16 elements, so that will make up 256 possible numbers there, and 256 possible number for the second pair, and 256 possible elements for the third pair. So these could be assigned in a combination. For instance, let's look at another example, and you could see different combinations of these numbers would give different colors, and you could also create the gradient effect or smooth color effect for different color pairs. Okay, moving on to the example that we want to do is actually this one. So let me get hold of the page. So what I'd like you to do, guys, I'd like you to get hold of the file from week 2 starter.html, and if you open that file in the browser, you will see something like this, where you have a heading, 3 links, a subheading, and some information over there, and the list and the footer there. Okay, now if I look at this particular file in Notepad++, you will see the code behind it. If you haven't got the file, you may like to give yourself a bit of practice, you may like to write the code by hand, but it's pretty straightforward. Your HTML document is starting with doc type declaration. You're starting your HTML tag here, and you're putting in the head tag and closing head tag, you're putting the title and chart set. Okay. Inside the body, if you could see, the very first element you're putting is heading one, which if you remember, that will be reflected at the top of the page. Okay, and this is interesting. Here, what you see here is a div tag. Div tag is like a block within an HTML page that could be act as an independent piece, and we could apply styles to that particular block, and we could move it into different positions. So that's a very powerful feature, and we will see how it could be used to structure the page. Now, in the early days, people, if when people wanted to structure the web page, they started using table, which was never intended to use for structuring the or moving the elements or presenting in certain alignments, like right align, or creating an effect where you want to put elements in a certain order. So div is the preferred way, and we could apply the style sheets on these tags. So what's happening here in this particular block, you could see we are putting three links: a link to index.html page, services.html page, and contact.html page. These may be stubs at the moment. You may just put the links there, but they might not be linking to any page at this point in time, but it's up to you. You could link these if you like. Okay, next element is h2, which is straightforward, heading default heading type 2, and then the next bit is the paragraph. You are putting some information within the paragraph. You notice here you're putting a break there. HTML by default is not going to put a break by itself. If you want to force a break, you need to put the break, which is a single tag here. And this is again straightforward, is unordered list, and you're putting the list items there for each one, about 5 of them, and then you are putting another heading there in paragraph, and here you are actually putting a footer, and you are putting in the div tag to where we can apply our styles there, and we're closing the body tag and HTML. Okay. Okay, so this code that you just have seen, which you could download from the area from your Blackboard, would, if you open this in browser, you will see this effect. So what we want to do, actually, we want to apply this style, okay, onto our page. So when we apply this style on our HTML page, instead of looking this way, okay, it would change something similar to this. Okay, that's our objective. So you could see what we are trying to do here. Let me actually just put it there in the in the code. So what we're going to do, I'm going to embed that into the head section. So I'm just going to put the style there, and you could see the style in this way should be embedded within the style start and end tag. Okay, now so what is happening here at this point, we are saying the background color of the body is given by this code, and the color within the body would be given by this code here. Okay, we're also saying change the background color of h1, and it's going to override to whatever background color we have given for body to this color, and the color of the text of h1 element would be this. Okay, and similarly for h2. Right. Okay, now if I save my file here and go back to browser, and if I refresh it, and you would see the dramatic change, and you will see the power of CSS. Okay, with this simple example. So I'm going to refresh it, and you could see the change of the background color for the body, and change of the um, background color for H1 element and H2 elements, and it's shaping up nicely now. Okay, so that's the power of the CSS. There are a few more examples given in the presentation and material in week 2. Give it a go, and in addition you could also go to W3 Schools and click on CSS section and try out few examples from the examples given there, okay, from the sections given there, and that is quite a handy um, tutorial. So I would say spend some time on it, get yourself familiar with it, and have fun. Okay, thanks.